In this video, we'll cover 6 ultra-processed foods that you're probably eating, but should never eat again because they're destroying your health. Hey Wellness Warrior, I'm Dr. Zyrowski, and I hear from you all the time, what food should I eat, what food shouldn't I eat? How do we know these processed ingredients are actually bad for us and which ones should we avoid? Well, we know because science exists, and I'm going to highlight all of these things today. First thing I want to really draw your attention to is, when we think to ourselves, these foods aren't really that bad. They're okay to consume. We have to understand that if you live in America, many other countries are not eating the same foods that we're eating. Let's take, for example, the US standards for food versus the UK. Let's look at Heinz ketchup, a product sold in the US and a product sold over in the UK. It's supposed to be the same product, but if you look at the ingredients, you notice something very disturbing. The ketchup sold in the US has tomato concentrate, whereas the ketchup sold in the UK has plain old tomatoes. The ketchup sold in the US is made with multiple forms of corn syrup and sugar, where the one in the UK is just plain old sugar. And then the last thing I want to point out is the US version actually has fake natural flavorings in it, where the UK version, well, because it's actually made from tomatoes, it's not a big deal. There's no reason to put those fake natural flavorings in. Now we can take this example across the board. We could look at oatmeal, for example. The oatmeal sold in the UK actually has real strawberries in it, whereas the oatmeal sold in the US has no trace of strawberry at all, just some fake strawberry flavoring. And the thing is this is very dangerous and detrimental to your health when all these bad synthetic ingredients are in your food. And you might say to yourself, well, how do we know this is actually bad? Well, there's actually a research study I'm going to highlight that will show us this is bad. There was a meta-analysis done where they looked at 14 studies that covered 10 million people. And what they did is they looked at ultra-processed foods and how bad they were for your overall health. And what they found is that ultra-processed foods were linked to 32 different conditions, which we'll get to in just a minute. So if you're suffering with health problems, you're going to see why in just a second. The big question becomes is, how do we know what food is ultra-processed and what isn't? Well, what we'll do is we'll take a look at the food classification system that they used in this study. They had 4 different groups, and this is how they broke it up. Now in group 1, you're really going to be focused on your unprocessed or minimally processed foods. This is basically your food directly found in nature. And now in group 2, this is where you're going to have your culinary ingredients. You think you could take milk, for instance, and you can make butter from it. And that's what you're getting in your group 2, your ingredients. These are still good, healthy foods, but they're going to be the products you use to make a dish. Now group 3 classification is what I refer to as the dishes, as in you're taking whole foods, you're taking these culinary ingredients, and now you're actually making real food from them that you would make for dinner, for instance. And then this leads us to group 4, the ultra-processed foods. Now the ultra-processed foods are the ones that I'm going to warn you about. They're the ones that are lab-made, industrial. They're also synthetic in many cases. And in fact, you might think to yourself, well, good news is I don't eat that stuff. Well, the truth is, this is going to be 58% of people. 58% of people are eating from this group of foods, and this is why it's so dangerous. Now, to fully understand what is in these groups of foods, let me go ahead and read you a few excerpts from the research. What was found is that ultra-processed foods are not merely modified foods as defined by the NOVA classification. Their formulations of often chemically manipulated cheap ingredients such as modified starches, sugars, oils, fats, and protein isolates, with little, if any, whole foods added, made palatable and attractive by using combination of flavors, colors, emulsifiers, thickeners, and other additives. No reason exists to believe that the human can fully adapt to these products. The body may react to them as useless or harmful, so its systems may become impaired or damaged depending on the vulnerability and the amount of ultra-processed foods consumed. So we can see right there, this is basically how they're categorizing these. Furthermore, they say they also contain additives including colors, emulsifiers, and sweeteners linked by experimental and epidemiological evidence to imbalances in gut microbiota and systemic inflammation. So if you're suffering from a chronic condition and these are causing systemic inflammation and gut issues in you, well, then we can see wherein lies the problem. Furthermore, they say ultra-processed foods are engineered to be highly desirable, containing sugar, fat, and salt to maximize the reward, and adding flavors that induce eating when not hungry. So this is the thing that is very, very dangerous. You know, you find yourself in a position where it's like, hey, why can't I lose weight? Why am I hungry all the time? Why am I having these health conditions? Well, we're eating fake synthetic foods. And if we look at some of the areas where people are suffering, I mentioned there's 32 different health conditions that people are suffering from. Here's just a few of them. Eating foods within this group 4 category are associated with up to a 61% increase in sleep problems, up to a 59% increase in anxiety disorder, up to a 63% increase in mental disorders, up to a 27% increase in all cases of mortality, up to an 84% increase in cardiovascular related deaths, also an increase in most cancers. So you can see that eating from this group 4 category of foods is really detrimental to your health. Hey, it's Dr. Nick, and many of you have asked the best way to get in contact with me. Go ahead and text me at 586 800-1642. I'm here to help you transform your health naturally because true health only comes naturally. So text me at 586-800-1642. I'm here to support you in your health goals for life. Let's get back to the video. So what are the 6 ultra-processed foods that you need to start avoiding today? Well, it's first going to start with the sugary foods. As you know, if you're eating a whole bunch of sugar, it's leading to metabolic issues, which is associated with heart disease and high cholesterol and fatty liver and type 2 diabetes. We want to make sure that we really kick all these sugary foods out of our diet. Eating foods that have natural sugar in it, like fruit, which is found in nature, is fine. However, processed sugary foods shouldn't be eaten. Also, eating bad fats and fried foods. If you're somebody who likes to go out to a restaurant, all of those fried foods that you're eating are made from bad fats heated to a high temperature, causing inflammation in your body. We want to make sure we're sticking to better fats like olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, tallow, ghee, and butter. And then from there, we want to make sure that we're avoiding deli meats, which also have a lot of low quality ingredients mixed within them. We want to stay away from processed cheeses, which are full of emulsifiers and ingredients to make them look good and taste good. And of course, even colorings to help them bring out a certain color to make them look attractive. We want to stay away from sugary drinks like soda and juices. You know, juice, though it's found in nature, it's a high concentration of sugar that's not good for the body. We also want to make sure we're staying away from chips because they are typically fried and full of many low quality ingredients, which are high in calorie and lacking proper nutrition. From there, stay away from, in general, pre-packaged foods as they are loaded with a lot of bad ingredients, and stick to the foods that are in these group 1, 2, and 3, and don't find yourself as one of the individuals who are 58% of people, in fact, that eat from this group 4. I'm Dr. Nick Zyrowski. I hope this really helped clear a few things up for you. All the different resources and studies and classifications and everything I mentioned will be linked below this video. If you enjoyed this video, I think you'll really like this one next.